Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Monday, the third day of February, 2025. The first time in February, I'm doing reflection because the first and the second were on the weekend. So Monday is Monday of the fourth week of the year, the fourth week in Ordinary Time. It is also today an optional memorial that's important to mention is St. Blaise. Again, we take 2 cross candles, put them over your throat, and you say the blessing so that you may be relieved of any disease of the throat or any other illness. Usually, most people tell me you did that, and I got a sore throat, so who knows what's going to happen. But we just had morning prayer here at the Franciscan School, and we did a general blessing over everybody for St. Blaise. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully everybody will be kept safe from any illness as winter continues. Although it is going to be 70 today here in Carolina, is cold this morning. It's just ridiculous. So we'll just see how everything goes. As we begin this fourth week in Ordinary Time, continuing with the letter to the Hebrews, which will continue again all this week. It's a very long letter that was written to these Hebrew Christians way back when. Here it is always interesting that the author of the letter begins, it's chapter 12, I believe that we're in, begins chapter 12 saying, what more can I say? And goes on basically to speak for another 4 or 5 chapters. But what he's doing now, and he began this on Saturday, is to kind of talk about all of those people who have preceded this moment of Christ and of this letter in the history of the Jewish people. And all of them did great things. All of them experienced all kinds of troubles and turmoils because of their belief in God and the promises that God had given to them. They never doubted. They always trusted in to relieve them in those times of turmoil and difficulties. But the author to the Hebrews basically says they never inherited the promise that is now laid before these people to whom the letter is being written, that they are being given what God foresaw in all the lives of these people who preceded them. So again, this great link that the author of the letter to the Hebrews is making to this Christ movement that is beginning. It is not something that severs Christ's work among Judaism and among the Hebrew people, but it is something that comes to fulfillment. And again, the author goes on to say again how wonderful it is and how privileged it is for all of you to receive what was promised, that only these others could look forward to, but never possessed in their own. And yet, because you have received it, the author goes, so too now are they blessed, because again of their own continued belief and their own continued faith in who it is that God says God is for us and what God says God will do for us. So the connection, again, always between what has come before and what we live in now and where we move together into the future. That this is why we pray for the dead, so that they continue to inherit the reality and the truth of the promise, that God laid out for them also. There's no time before Christ or time after Christ. There is no sense of a dark age and a light age. There is no sense in which the scriptures of the Hebrew people are dismantled or they're put to no use because again they rejected, some will say, who Christ was. And again, no, it's not necessarily what happens. Again, it's God fulfilling God's promises, and again for those who dare to believe, of all shapes and sizes, of all walks of life, and allowing that belief again to secure an understanding even in this life to come of those again who preceded us in faith and in this relationship with God. In Mark's Gospel, we are in chapter 5 now, we come to one of the more interesting stories. Again, Mark's Gospel is filled with so many interesting stories because, again, they always surround demons. Again, Mark has this fascination with demons, loves to talk about them, and an account and makes all kinds of accounts of Jesus having to deal with them. And so this is one, again, of a man who along the sea, it's the Gerasene Sea, which it's kind of another little sea that's right above, that's fed by the Sea of Galilee, but it's right above. So it's in the whole area of Nazareth. And this man, unfortunately, is possessed by some malady or whatever it is, chained among tombs, breaking the chains. Nobody can subdue him. He's crazy, he's mad, and whatever it is. And Jesus basically goes to him and basically says, unclean spirit, come out of him. And this is whole back and forth between whatever unclean spirit or whatever's happening to this man. Again, and he says what is your name? Legion, there are many of us. And again, the Amityville horror takes up on this and makes all kinds of things like that. Again, but then it goes in this whole thing where the demons don't want to just be thrown away or whatever, cast out. Again, it's a strange kind of thing. If again God's more powerful than all of this, God could just make it all disappear, but God doesn't. I don't know. But they say, let us go into these swine that are nearby. Now, why are there swine in a place that that's Nazareth, where Jewish people are living. Again, they're the idea of pork and pork off limits and what have you. Again, it shows that, again, the area of Galilee was a crossroads of many different cultures and of many different kinds of peoples and many kinds of different faiths and beliefs, which is why it is often said, can anything good come out of Nazareth? Because it's in this area that is blending all kinds of people, which is why you would have people who eat pork with Jewish people who don't. But the demons go into the swine, and the swine are thrown over a cliff. They go mad and run over a cliff, and the swine die. And so it didn't really serve the demons at all anyway. But the thing about it is that these swineherds have lost their income, have lost their business, have lost their ability, to have a lifestyle, to have any kind of livelihood. And so what did Jesus do for them? Nothing. It's like, so it's like, what's going on? You just create a whole havoc of madness and everything else like that. But the man is healed. The man is healed, and basically he wants to follow Jesus, but Jesus says, go off and proclaim to all what the world has done, and that's what the Lord has done, and that's what this man does. Swineherds probably not very happy, dead pigs all over the place. Who knows where these demons went? And Jesus goes along his merry way. Again, it's one of these strange kinds of instances, again, where the wonder of who Christ is and the inbreaking of Christ's word into this, and Christ's presence into the world can create all kinds of havoc. But through it all, we need to see, again, where the power of God is at work. A blessed day, a blessed St. Blaise Day. May get your throats blessed if you can. May the Lord give you his peace.